Yo guys, sorry, you already know that today I'm going to be recapping week 17 of my 2025 video game backlog journey. Link in the description if you need the full explanation to the games and list and series as a whole. But yeah, we are on week 17 and this past week was pretty crazy as expected in terms of all the games. So we're going to go ahead and jump right on into this. As always, I'm going to recap the previous week, then I will dedicate a section where I dive a little bit deeper into each of the games that I played. Talk about where I'm at and my feelings and all that, and then I will finish up with a preview of what I expect the next week to be like. So where we left off in terms of the backlog, I was playing Chrono Trigger and The Last of Us Part 2, and those are still the only two games from the backlog that I am playing, because the main thing that I knew was going to start to become an issue was the amount of new games that were coming out and being played, and yada yada yada. So Blueprints was the one that I was dedicating a lot of time to before, which I have dedicated a lot less time to now. I've played a couple hours South of Midnight. These playtime hours should be about accurate. They should be up to date. So I played a couple hours of South of Midnight. This might be closer to 3 hours, but it's in that range. Split Fiction I didn't actually put any time into this past week. RTK is still in the process of moving. Well, actually, I think he's done now, and we're actually supposed to play tonight. So, and I actually shouldn't be that far away from the end, from what I understand. So within a few weeks, we should be done with Split Fiction. But then, as of the uploading of this video 2 days ago, there were two games that came out. So I'm going to talk about both of them, because I'm only going to add one for right now. And that game is Claire Obscure... Oh gosh, why does it have to have such a name like this? Expedition 33. I have been very excited for the game for a while. I think it looked really good, and I was hearing really good things about it as, you know, release day approached. And I won't really say that I've played it. I kind of just played the intro just to get a feel, a vibe, but I didn't really have time to actually play it. So, but that is on the list of things to play. The other game that came out was the 100 Line Last Defense Academy, which is the newest game from it's from, not from the director or creator of Danganronpa, but he's like involved. I think the team that made Raincode, which I did play on my channel when that came out, made that game, The Last Defense. I really hate the name of the game, by the way. That one also like sucks. That one's actually worse than Claire Obscure. But I did not buy it. I did not start playing it because I was planning on doing a playthrough of it on my channel, but trying to juggle this many games, finish up my Fire Emblem playthrough and start another one, and I'm also doing some recording for, or I'm doing a ranking video that I've been working on for a little bit, and I've been definitely ramping up the amount of work that I'm putting into doing that. So I'm juggling a lot of different things. So I'm going to wait until I'm done with my Fire Emblem playthrough before I start playing that. I was so tied to wanting to play it day one and getting a day one playthrough out there, but honestly, I don't think it matters. I think the people that would want to watch me play that game will, you know, watch it whether I wait a couple weeks or not. So I'm just going to wait till I have more time to play that. So here's where we are now, and I will be diving deeper into most of these games. Actually, the next section shouldn't take nearly as long. Yeah, I will get into the state of some of these games because I'm not sure if I'm going to keep all these. Blueprints is one that is on the cusp of potentially falling off in terms of not being played, and I will get more into why, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat the game, and that's kind of killed a little bit of momentum, so I'll get into that a little bit later. Over the past week, the only other events that happened was it was Easter, and I don't really celebrate the holiday, but it is an excuse to get together with my family and see them, and that was really nice. So that took up a lot of my time Sunday, and a little bit Monday as well. So that is what I've spent this past week doing. It's been crazy. But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and just move on to the next section, and we're just going to start talking about these games, and I'm going to work on trying to stop rambling on so much and like maybe make these videos just a little bit shorter, but we'll see if I have any luck. So this week I'm not going to talk about Split Fiction, and I'm not going to talk about Claire Obscure Expedition 33 because I don't really have enough game time put into them over the past week to have anything meaningful to say. But I am going to start with the new games before the backlog game. So I'm going to start with Blueprints because that's probably the biggest one to talk about. Blueprints is a puzzle game that, at least in my corner of the internet, has basically been taking over the world. Everybody I know seems to be talking about it or has an opinion on it. And now that it's been out for a couple weeks, I definitely, am more solidifying my opinion that, the game has been good. But what has sort of happened is I feel like I solved every puzzle that I was like actively working on. And right now, I don't really have one thing that I'm like working towards. So, in the game, you're supposed to be trying to find like room 46 and yada, yada, yada. But that's not really the first thing you should try doing. You should, focus on little puzzles to solve like along the way. And so there was a couple puzzles that I was like really focusing on. I knew that I needed a certain room, so that way I could solve a puzzle on like the breaker box. Okay. And like that, I feel like I put some time into. I was like, oh, I'm going to focus on really trying to get this room. I'm going to try and figure out everything I need to. And I was able to do everything organically and solve the puzzle myself without any outside help. And that felt really rewarding and good. But I don't really have any more puzzles like that I know of that I'm like working towards. Like there isn't a room that I'm actively looking for that has the information that I need. Or like it probably does, but I just don't know what that is. I don't know what I'm actively working towards. I solved a few puzzles to give me some more permanent upgrades, but all that's really doing is just, I'm kind of just going in circles. I discovered this room called the pump room, and I also don't understand how it works. I've looked up multiple guides. I have watched people do it. I have tried to replicate what I see people do, and I just don't understand it. It's not clicking. So if that room is involved in anything that is required to get to the end of the game, I'm probably going to stop playing. But I know there's a lot more puzzles out there. I just don't know what combinations I need to solve them. And I don't know if I'm willing to put in 40, 50, 60 hours. I don't know. Like, this is 8 hours of playtime in, 15 in-game days, I think? Maybe 16 at most. So, I mean, I'm spending like an hour or two like per in-game day. I mean, I'm sure I could probably do some runs and make them go quicker, but like, am I going to be progressing towards anything? I have no idea. So I'm not ready to drop Blueprints yet, per se, but I am getting close to either doing that or getting some nudges in the right direction. Just figuring out like what I need to do because, right now, I feel like I solved all of the puzzles that have been like right there in front of me, and the ones that I don't understand. Like I still have a bunch of notes that don't mean anything to me right now, but I don't know like what I'm looking for to be able to solve them. So I could just keep randomly exploring, which I might do, or I could get a little bump in the right direction, which I also might do, or I could stop playing entirely, which I also might do. I haven't really decided, and I'm not committing to anything right now because I don't want to make any rash decisions. I feel like if I am going to move on from a game, then once I make that decision, like I am done and I'm not coming back to it. So I don't want to do that without putting serious thought and being 100% sure that is what I want to do. So that's where I'm at with Blueprints. It is it's still good overall. I just don't know if it's clicking with me as much, but we shall see. I might feel differently next week. But we're going to talk about South of Midnight, because South of Midnight is a game that I wanted to play as soon as it came out, and then instead I started playing Blueprints. But South of Midnight is a really, really cool game, and a game that I'm enjoying a lot right now. South of Midnight has you playing as this girl named Hazel in the Deep South, and there's like a hurricane of sorts that is coming, and like flood, whatever. And Hazel's going to check up on the neighbors, and then it literally gets so bad that her house, with her mother still inside, starts like floating away by like water, and yeah, it's crazy stuff. And as Hazel is like trying to rescue, she discovers that she has some powers because she has been chosen as like a weaver, which is a sort of person that sort of weaves the fabric of the tapestry or whatever. It's based on, I think, like a real, I don't know if it's like a real belief or a real tradition, but it's sort of like keeping the tapestry of whatever like together, and so she gets these like magical like powers. The game reminds me a lot of Kena Bridge of Spirits, in the sense that it is a pretty linear action game. The zones where you even fight the monsters are very, very similar, because they're usually like small circles. You're kind of fighting like 1 to 2 monsters at a time, and then once you beat them up, you sort of drain them of like energy, and then once you're like kind of done, you kind of drain this ball and it kind of flowers up. It's like you're clearing corruption, like in Kenna. So it's very, very similar. I think it's different just in the sense of like the type of magic you're doing, also the setting. The music is kind of crazy. It's set just like an undescribed, like, I don't think it's a real place, but like Prospero, but it's like the deep south. It feels very like Louisiana coded type thing, and because of that, there's a lot of like really like jazzy, bluesy, like the soundtrack is just unlike anything that I've heard in a game like this, and I think that's really cool. But the setting is nice. It does a pretty good job of like introducing like your new abilities like one at a time, showing you like how it works in practice, and then, you know, giving you an opportunity to use that like fairly quickly. Like I feel like I just kept getting new abilities and new abilities and new abilities, but like nothing overly complicated. The game is not hard really at all. I think there's a hard mode and I'm just playing on normal, but it's fairly straightforward and simple, especially if you've played like action games and stuff before. And it's on Game Pass, so South of Midnight has been a very, very good surprise so far, and I'm very glad that I am playing it and I am enjoying it so far. I am only a couple hours in. I don't really know. I guess the game is actually split into like chapters. There's like a storybook that actually like starts to read and narrate some of the intro stuff in terms of like where you are. I think I've been like chapter 4 or 5, something like that. I have no idea how many chapters there are, and the first couple ones go by really, really fast. So I feel like I've done like one like major thing, and it was pretty cool. It's very much like you see like the spirits of people that, you know, existed in the past. It's almost like their souls are not laid to rest, which is again like very, very much like Kena, like Bridge of Spirits vibes, which is a good thing because I do like that game, and we'll see if I end up liking this game more or not. It has the potential to go either way for me. So that's all I have to say about that. Now we will move on to the backlog games, where I will start with Chrono Trigger. Chrono Trigger, I'm about 6 to 7 hours in, and I am past where I have ever played before, so I am in new territory, which is exciting. I've mostly been able to do things myself, just with I've kind of been using a guide. I haven't been using a guide, but I have looked up a couple things just to like make sure that I'm going the right direction. And surprisingly, I feel like I'm doing pretty well for myself. Like I usually, have the right idea of where to go, or I've done a lot of optional stuff and I've gotten like some side or like some extra items and gear and whatnot. The game, it's not easy, it's not hard. I feel like it strikes a pretty good balance for challenge. There's definitely been some enemies that I've struggled against, but I have found ways to beat them, which has been nice. So thankfully I haven't gotten like stuck in one place for too long yet. In terms of specifics where I'm at, I am now in like the earliest part of the game, like 65 million years in the past, and I met a cave woman. So that is fun. I really just started there, so I'm only at the start of that, so whatever that means. I'm trying to do everything. I don't want to rush. I know this is a game where I guess technically you can challenge the final boss like at any time, but I'm going to try to do it at like the last possible time because, again, I don't want to... I want the game to be a fairly easier experience. Like I don't want to make it harder for myself. I want to experience what the game has to offer. I want to experience everything that I can find, and I wouldn't want to just cut that short even if I was good enough to beat the final boss, which I'm sure I would not be able to do. Like maybe there's ways, but I wouldn't know how to do it. So yeah, I'm looking forward to playing more. It has been a jolly good time so far. So yeah, that's Chrono Trigger. And so now, for the last game of this section, I will talk about The Last of Us Part 2. And next week is probably going to be the last time you will hear me talk about Last of Us Part 2, because I was struggling to put more playtime into Last of Us, and that's mostly because I feel like there's like a state of mind that I need to be in, like when I play. Like I need to be ready to like focus, I need to be ready to like absorb like story, I need to be ready to just like, I don't know, there's just like a different mindset that I need to be in for Last of Us, and it was starting to become a challenge for me to get into that mindset, but there was like 2 different play sessions where I just kind of forced myself to, play the game and then just like keep playing. I would get to like one little like checkpoint, I'm like, what if I just like go to the next one, and then all of a sudden I just really got like, sucked right back in. And I'm actually I really think that I'm maybe like a few hours away. So I could see myself being done with it fairly soon. So I'm gonna go ahead and talk about a little bit the spoilers, so that way I can be specific as to where I'm at. So if you don't want spoilers, just skip until you don't see gameplay on the screen. But for everybody else, the specific part where I'm at is I met Lev and Abby, and Lev went on their adventure, going way up high and across the scary bridge, which seems so impractical, and I can't believe that that would be like a normal common route that would be used, but apparently it was. The building that we fell into was awful. I will say that I don't love the combat in Last of Us, and I think that's like, I like it when it's just a couple of people or a couple of enemies, but when there's rooms where there's like 5 of them that can come at you, and yeah, I don't know, I'm just not really good, I feel like, at the combat. So it's not that I can't do it, especially because I have been on an easier difficulty, but I do find myself wanting to just either like run through or just kind of brute force it with like guns until like something works. And you know, it's been working because I'm on easier difficulty, but if I wasn't, I mean, I wouldn't be enjoying it probably. But there are some sections that you can just sort of run through, which has been nice. There is a good variety in the types of encounters that you have, and yeah, I like it. But yeah, obviously the main draw is the story. I'm still interested to see how the story unfolds, because now we've gone onto a whole side thing where, you know, Abby's helping these Seraphites that, you know, are, I guess, not really a part of them. You know, they are in spirit, but not in, you know, because they're being hunted. So, you know, it's a chance for the player to learn a little bit more about what the Seraphites are about, how they operate, and what the deal is there. So I think that's been cool. But in terms of like what Abby's doing and how it's gonna resolve, I'm still not entirely sure. Like, there's been more either flashbacks or whatever, or times where you're meeting up with like Owen, and Mel, I guess, but like both of them, I know that they both die, so it's a very interesting story choice to you know, continue to show these people and, you know, potentially have you as a player get drawn more to them when you know that they don't have a happy ending. So I'm not sure if I would have preferred it to be more like bounce back and forth, like chronologically, like you know, Ellie has like Seattle Day 1, like what if it did that, and then Abby's like Seattle Day 1, you know what I mean? I don't know if that would have been better or not. I won't really know until I reach the end of the game. But yeah, I definitely think I will reach the end of the game, and that will be really exciting when I do. So I'm not going to keep rambling. I am going to go ahead and wrap up that section right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and transition into the preview for next week. And yeah, next week is probably going to look a lot like this week in terms of me putting some time into these new games. I do think that I will be able to beat Last of Us Part 2. Chrono Trigger is probably still a little bit further out, but that's okay. If I am going to start another game, it would probably be Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, just because I've explained I was watching the Into the Spider-Verse movies, or the Spider-Verse movies, I guess, not that long ago. And I was just reminded that I really like Miles Morales, and I never played the game, and I really want to. And it would be a really easy game to pick up and play. So I think that would be something that I could do. And that's about it. I do need to try and, you know, put more time into these, just all the games in general, because I do want to, I still have a decent amount of games left to play through, and some pretty lengthy ones still left as well. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep doing my best and trying to put more time in and just be better about it, and we'll see if I have any luck or not. I don't think there's any, I didn't look, I don't think there's any new games. I think the next new game that I have any interest in would be the Elden Ring Night Reign, and I'm still only 50-50 on if I actually want to play that or not, and that's not till like the end of May. So we should have about a month here for me to worry about, you know, finishing some of these new games and putting some time into the backlog games. So hopefully there aren't any other big surprises of games that I like need to play right away, and I can focus on the ones here. So yeah, that is where we are at, and that's about everything that I have to say. So you know, hopefully you have enjoyed. If so, let me know. If there's any questions that you have, feel free. I'll see some comments, and you know, let me know if I don't know, if you've enjoyed this journey, if you've taken anything from it for your backlog, or if you're just, you know, enjoying the process. Well, there's like so many sounds going on in the background, so I'm gonna like go see what that's about. Hopefully you all have enjoyed. Yeah, if so, let me know, but I will see you all around next week for week 18. That is super exciting, but yeah, I'm going to get out of here. Goodbye.